Right. All right, so the recap of the first turn is all the things moved onto the table. Matt's 2 aerospace fighters entered the central zone and did a strafing run against a Locust and a Commando, and did a striking at a Vulcan. The strafing run did hit the Commando, but that was it. These 5 mechs tried to return fire. The Vulcan hit his target, and the Locust and the Commando both hit their target. The Whitworth tried to shoot at a guillotine via indirect fire from the Stinger spotter and didn't land anything. All right, so in this round, through combined firepower of that Trebuchet and the guillotine, they destroyed a Stingray who laid a hurt on the Trebuchet. So one of the Stingrays is dead. Let's see. The other aerospace fighter rocked the assassin pretty good, not making him run yet. The fire starter hit the spider at close range, so the spider is now at 1 heat and has no external armor. The Whitworth fired at the guillotine through the fire support of the Stinger. The Vulcan and the Clint both shot at, I think it was the spider. And I think they both missed, if I remember correctly.
Vulcan and Clint both shot together with pistols.
Yep. The rifleman decided to eat a Locust because it went to the wrong place. The Locust did, however, shoot at the rifleman to do 2 points of damage. The Raven tried to narc the Clint and failed. He also tried to hit the Clint and failed. The Marauder tried to hit the Clint and failed. The Locust, however, through the indirect spotting from the assassin, it did hit the Clint for 1 point of damage. The Commando is twiddling his thumbs. The Wolfhound shot at the Marauder. And did I do damage to your Marauder this turn?
Yes. Somebody shot the Marauder for 3. Oh,
yes, the Wolfhound shot the Marauder for 3.
Oh, she was being...
All right, this is the end of turn 3 or 4, one of the two. And the Rifleman toasted the Commando. The Raven and the Spider tried to shoot at the Clint and missed. The Locust did 1 point or 2 points to the Wolfhound?
1 point.
1 point to the Wolfhound in the butt and caused a crit. Don't remember what it is at the moment. The Marauder is still overheating by 1. The Assassin is still not helpful. The Whitworth did 2 points of damage to the Guillotine, and the Guillotine finished the Stinger. Both the Vulcan and the Fire Starter tried to hit the Trebuchet and failed.
Out in the open.
The Fire Starter took damage from the Trebuchet and is in a bad place now. Now the Fire Starter doesn't do any heat and only does damage at short range because he's a silly head. Oh, and the fighters. The Stingray is now in Quadrant 2, while the other fighters are tied up in air-to-air engagements. The Sparrowhawks are running from the other guys. They're running from the Corsairs. The
bad pilot got shot up by the
Skill 5 Sparrowhawk and the Skill 4 Corsair are dueling, while the other 2 are chasing. So the ace pilot for the Sparrowhawk lost and was trailed by the Corsair, but because the Sparrowhawk has so much better thrust than the Corsair, the Sparrowhawk gets to choose the range at which they engage. He chose long, and neither of us have a long range. All right, through glorious shenanigans, the long-range Locust kicked the Wolfhound to death. After the Wolfhound shoots the Rifleman to death, both the Rifleman and the Raven try to shoot an evading, overheating Clint and fail, the Whitworth pokes out and shoots the Raven to death. The Spider lands a hit in the rear of the Whitworth. The Vulcan jumps in and hits the Spider. The Spider is now fleeing. The Marauder just banks heat. The Assassin doesn't do anything because he doesn't have any targets. This Firestarter shoots at nothing but jumped away from his two belligerent would-be pursuers. The Trebuchet doesn't have line of sight to the Firestarter because of levels, and the Guillotine doesn't have line of sight because of the bridge. And then we have the Stingray came back into the central zone and tried to heat bomb the Marauder and failed, when he should have just shot the Marauder in the butt for 5 points of damage by overheating by 1. And then the other fighters are just doing ring around the rosy because the Sparrowhawks have figured out they will lose the war of attrition with these Corsairs. Hello again, game fans. This is Drubaka. This was the first attempt at fighters, and we kind of crashed and burned on some stuff with this. However, we were consistent throughout the game, and it was pretty enjoyable. We didn't do some stuff right, but that's okay whenever you're learning a game. As long as you have the courage and willpower to try again. Fighters are a complicated mess. We did a bunch of things wrong in this game, but we had a lot of fun doing it, so it's alright. One thing I need to mention is that Matt and I agreed that our fighters would come in from a particular spot instead of the edge of the table, so the fighters engaged faster than they should have, so we had close air support instead of far away air support, but we agreed to it beforehand, enjoyed the game, so I'm really not going to bellyache about that. Once again, we made an indirect fire error because I didn't read the errata whenever we did this game. So, spotters add in movement type. So if you stand still, -1. If you ground move, +0. If you jump, +2. Evading was something we did in this game. Evading is an alternate rule that you don't always have to play with, but if you choose to evade, you don't shoot. However, you add a modifier to your TMM based on your skill. So it can be helpful. Next thing, fighters always hit from the front arc of ground units. Another thing, overheating does not change their movement, it changes their control roll. And finally, to conclude this video, let you know what happened in the last turn. Shortly after the video, I think we did 1, maybe 2 turns, and the victory went to Matt because we weighed options and alright, well, it's time for us to stop playing. Unfortunately, we don't get to actually finish the game. So we compared units, and his units were way better off than mine were. He had a lot more hit points, a lot more damage potential, and a lot of my stuff was either broken or running. So we decided to stop there. So that's all I've got for this video. Should be having another one probably next week sometime. That's all for now. Until next time, see ya.